you can count on. This is KIMT News 3 at 6.
As police investigate shots fired outside this Mason City bar, we're hearing the concerns the fight has raised for the bar's owner.
We'll see a few flakes flying for Christmas, but Mother Nature, she gives us a very messy storm in the days that follow. I'll let you know what we'll see coming up.
And it's the final Christmas countdown. Hear from shoppers as they scramble to find those last-minute gifts. Coming up.
And thanks so much for joining us. Happy Christmas Eve. I'm George Mallet. Katie Lang has the night off. First, gunplay outside a Mason City bar and grill resulted in injuries to a handful of people over the weekend. Shots were fired just outside Spike's Tap and Grill on Sunday morning, just before 2. Today, KIMT News 3's Brian Tabak spoke to the owner of the bar, and he joins us now live. Brian.
And George, the owner tells me that everything happened outside of the bar while they were closing it down, and that the bartenders on duty that night did everything that they were supposed to when they learned about an altercation. Call for help. But now the owner says he's worried that this shooting might hurt their reputation. Although Spike's Tap and Grill is shuttered on this Christmas Eve, the regulars are checking in with the owner, David Despines, in the wake of an unlikely shooting outside the establishment.
The owner has been a friend of mine for over 30 years.
Tim Scholl wasn't here when it happened, but he was plenty worried when he heard about an incident of gunplay outside his favorite watering hole.
When you hear something like shots fired, you're like, what happened?
So he called Despines to make sure everything was all right.
Everybody was leaving. It was probably about 1:30, 1:40 according to the bartenders, and we had a great night, no problems like normal. 3 individuals came in who nobody knew and wanted to buy drinks. We told them no.
Moments later, an altercation broke out outside of the bar involving 3 who were denied drinks. Now Despines says the business isn't getting a fair shake for doing what's right.
This happens out in the street with individuals who we didn't serve. We don't know them. Even the customers didn't know them. And so they come in, obviously from being somewhere else at 1:40 in the morning and caused a problem. It's not a fair representation of Spike's or who we are as a bar.
Despines' bartenders did exactly what they've been trained to do once the incident became violent.
Sometimes people late at night do something that they probably shouldn't have done, and things happen, and as long as you're trained and you take care of it, and that's what they did down here.
Police are still investigating who all was involved in the altercation. George, if anybody has information regarding the incident, they're asked to call the Mason City Police Department. In Mason City, Brian Tabak, KIMT News 3.
Sound advice. Thank you, Brian. And we will, of course, continue to update you on this story as more developments become available. So when I drove into our Rochester studios today, I had my shades on. The glare was at once brilliant and warm. Never mind that it was 24 degrees on the other side of my windshield. Let's go to KIMT Storm Team 3 meteorologist Brandon Libby for a quick look at what's next. Brandon.
That sun sure felt nice for today. First time seeing it since last week. Here's the views outside on our live eyes in the sky, and we do have partly cloudy skies at the moment, but it is looking quite nice out there right now. Temperatures are on the chilly side, though, especially if you're in southern Minnesota. 18 degrees in Rochester, it's 21 in Austin, 20 in Preston. Otherwise, the upper 20s to lower 30s across North Iowa. Temperatures for tonight will remain on the mild side. On average in about the middle 20s going all the way out through midnight. That's about when Santa will be arriving, so pretty nice weather for him. Our wind chills will be in the middle to upper teens. And speaking of Santa, our elves, his elves tell me that he is in Bakewell, England. He is heading for Scotland right now. He's expected to get into our area about 11:45 p.m. So looks like he's on track for a pretty nice arrival for tonight. Again, we'll continue to track him throughout the rest of this evening. We will see some snow for Christmas, just a few flakes will fly, and then in the days that set up after Christmas, we are looking at a pretty messy storm. I'll have all of the details on this coming up in about 10 minutes. George, back to you.
All right, that Santa tracking is the most important thing you will do tonight. Thank you, sir. Small businesses may have some difficulty getting any sort of federal assistance during the holidays.
Yeah, I suppose if a small business needs a loan on Christmas Eve, they're probably in dire straits, and they probably need that loan paperwork to go through. So I guess I feel for them there.
Yeah, while the U.S. government shutdown's not hurting Stam's chocolatier here in Rochester, Travis Yeager is sympathetic toward his fellow small business operators. The Small Business Administration, or SBA, will not be active during the shutdown. The SBA saying the shutdown won't impact businesses already receiving SBA loans, but the federal agency isn't accepting applications for any new loans. Well, as St. Nick and his reindeer fly around the world, Santa's slipping down chimneys to place presents beneath trees and fill stockings. Seems there remain shoppers hunting for last-minute Christmas gifts. The National Retail Federation found that more than 130 million people were shopping the weekend before Christmas. KIMT News 3's Isabella Basco caught up with the shopper racing against the clock to complete holiday shopping, and she joins us live in Rochester. Isabella.
George, here inside Target, it is down to the wire as people scour the aisles for those last-minute Christmas presents. But surprisingly, one man I spoke with says that he is not stressed out by the last-minute hustle and bustle of Christmas shopping. Jordan Wallace thought he got everything he needed for tomorrow until he realized he was missing a few things.
And I have to honestly grab a couple things for tomorrow's meal too, so it's like always something more that you have to grab, it seems like.
As the manager of a shoe store at Apache Mall, he does not get overwhelmed shopping last minute.
No, it's not super stressful for me. I mean, I imagine it would be for some people, but I just kind of walk out there, grab what I need, and know that there's really no time limit on anything.
In fact, while some holiday shoppers might be in a panic with Christmas just one day away, Wallace says they should calm down.
Just to enjoy it all, because I mean, it only happens once a year, and just enjoy your time with your family and all the discounts on everything.
So in Rochester, Walmart and Apache Mall closed early, but here is a look at some of the stores that are still open tonight if you want to do some last-minute shopping. This Target on Marketplace Drive Northwest will be open until 10, as well as Kmart, and then Shopko will be open until 9 o'clock. Reporting live in Rochester, Isabella Basco, KIMT News 3.
Thanks, Isabella. Speaking of which, the National Retail Federation reported that 18 to 24-year-olds are the most likely to buy their last gift in the week leading up to Christmas, and I was sure it was middle-aged dads. Well, a life-saving operation takes place at the Mayo Clinic despite this holiday. In a moment, we'll meet a sister giving the gift of life to her sibling. The miracle of a living organ donor straight ahead.
KIMT News 3 at 6, live from Rochester. Your local news with Katie Lang and George Mallet. Tracking storms with Storm Team 3 meteorologist Sarah Knox. This is KIMT News 3, local news from your community. We are coverage you can count on.
Yes, can you hear me, Jenna? Thank you. I'm sorry, what was that?
In the bustle of this holiday season, as you search for the perfect gift, well, sometimes it simply can't be bought. Such is the case when the gift is the gift of life. KIMT News 3's Katie Lang has an exclusive story you'll only see here.
It's called the Med City for a reason, so it should come as no surprise that a miraculous miracle will be taking place here on Christmas Eve.
It's the best gift ever, and as she said, it's the last gift she's given me for Christmas.
Kevin O'Connor's kidneys are failing.
It's progressively gotten worse and gotten to the point now that my kidneys are starting to shut down, so it's time to replace them.
And today, he's given a second chance, thanks to the generosity of his sister.
Get to give my brother a kidney.
I'm very blessed that she didn't think twice about it when I asked. Chances are better with a sibling.
Kevin was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease, or PKD, in his mid-30s. Going under the knife is nothing new for the two. Mary is now the second sibling to donate a kidney to a family member.
So our younger brother also had a healthy kidney, and our mom, who had PKD, needed a transplant a little over 19 years ago.
Hi. How are you?
As Mary wraps up medical appointments pre-surgery, the duo's year-long journey is coming to an end.
I think God gave us two kidneys for a reason. So anybody that's able to give a kidney, it's the recipient, just there's no words to describe how wonderful it is.
Kevin's surgery is expected to last 4 to 6 hours, and Mary's about an hour and a half. We are wishing them health and happiness in the new year. Reporting in downtown Rochester, Katie Lang, KIMT News 3.
Thanks, Katie. And according to the United Network for Organ Sharing, across the nation there are more than 100,000 people in need of a transplant. To learn how you can be a donor, head to KIMT.com. We have a link attached to the story under the local news tab. Well, today is the final day that you'll familiar sound.
There you go.
The Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign officially wrapped up for the season this afternoon. The money raised goes toward funding disaster relief, community outreach, much more. We spoke with bell ringers who say they've enjoyed helping out the cause on the home stretch of the campaign.
Well, I think it's a very satisfying thing to do, and I think it's a very worthwhile cause that people are contributing to.
I think a lot of people maybe haven't been donating throughout the month, but will put in a 5 or a 10 today or something more.
Less than a half hour ago, we heard from the Mason City Salvation Army branch. Their unofficial tally is more than $94,000 raised. We're still waiting to hear back about the totals in Albert Lee, Austin, and Rochester.
Do you want some snow for Christmas? Well, you might just get some. Find out coming up after this break.